currently under the Kanda overpass, one of the places earmarked for the Accra Beautification Project.
This overpass, when it was constructed in 1997, did not look like this. But 23 years down the line, posterity could not preserve its beauty. With the gradual plastering of fosters and other forms of promotional materials, this is its current outlook. Not even the painting of the Ghana flag could deter people from defacing it. This is how the Accra Interchange previously looked like. But with the Accra Beautification Project, the interchange, which until 2005 was known as the Sankara Interchange, now looks like this.
You may have seen some beautiful artwork ongoing here at the Accra Interchange, with links the 37 road to the Accra Road. We have been told by some facilitators of this project that it is being spearheaded by the Creative Arts Council under the leadership of Jan Kroma Ekufuade, the director, in collaboration with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, the Kwale Klote Municipal Assembly, the Ghana Association of Visual Artists, and the Accra.org. We are here to find out the concept and what really motivated this.
The Accra Interchange, also built in 1997 under the Jerry John Rawlings administration, is a flyover in Accra, situated strategically between the Ring Road Central and the Independence Avenue. It's a few minutes walk from the police headquarters and named after a member of the Big Six, Dr. Accra, who was Ghana's first foreign affairs minister. At the upper bridge of the interchange, these group of artists are setting up their tools to begin the day's task of giving the interchange a facelift. Here, I spoke to Mr. Lawrence Kweku Ajiman, the General Secretary of the Ghana Association of Visual Artists, one of the partners of the project, and he tells me what this concept is about.
Well, this project is the Art for All project that is being spearheaded by the Creative Arts Council in collaboration with Kwale Klote Municipal Assembly and Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and with the involvement of two artistic organizations, Ghana Association of Visual Artists and Accra.org, to execute this project. It is part of the beautification of the city of Accra. And that's what this whole project is about.
What exactly is going into your choice of artworks you're putting around?
Okay, so this bridge is named after Accra, and then this is the city of Accra. And so everything that we are doing here is about projecting the culture of the Ghana, the people of Ghana. We are in Accra, even though Accra is, Ghana is supposed to be the gateway of Africa, and Accra is supposed to be a center of commerce. But there are indigenes here that are basically the Ghanaians. And so this whole murals that are being executed here is supposed to project the people called Ghana, their culture, in terms of religion, in terms of commerce, economics, anything that has to do with the people of Ghana. So every mural that is being executed here is focused on the people of Ghana. We want to project the culture of the Ghanaians. And so behind me you can see a symbol. These can be likened to Edinkra symbols. The Ghanaians also have their own symbols. And these symbols have not been so projected, if you like. We are more familiar with these Edinkra symbols and all that. But these symbols are all there. There are quite a number of them, which are also similar in meanings with some of these Edinkra symbols. Basically about life and everything about life. And so we saw the need to also project some of these cultures, some of these symbols, so that it can be incorporated into architecture and everything, in terms of design and all that. And so that's how come you see one of these designs behind me. As far as the execution of this mural is concerned, we have 4 sections. We have our pillars. We have about 8 pillars that we have worked on with these designs. Okay, and then we have 3 huge walls. The wall to the side of the Canadian High Commission, the wall facing the Stanchart end of the bridge, and then the wall under the bridge. That's where I'm standing. So these are the 4 sections that we are working in. As I'm speaking, the pillars are complete. We are done with the pillars, and then the Canadian High Commission side of the bridge, we are just about 90% complete. We are just putting a few touches here and there, and then we'll be done with that. We are also at the moment working on the Stanchart end of the bridge. We are busily working. That's about 60% complete. Hopefully by the end of this week, we should be done with that one also. And then exactly facing me is another section of the bridge that we are also working on, and that is in 3D. So as you can see some mortar work, you can see some textures, and which is coming up, Yeah, we plastered, but it is done artistically. We have engaged professionals who are doing this. They are all part of the association that are helping us to execute this project. This is all part of the culture of the Gas, particularly their costumes, their marks, tribal marks, which all have some significance to the culture. So that's what we are working on. At the end of the day, when the mortar work is done, we will put in some color, and that will complement the work that we are doing. In fact, it is supposed to be the icing on the cake.
One major symbol being projected throughout the artwork is a graphical representation of a gas sign known as Mankota Mankono. It is the symbol of a deer on top of an elephant. Nita Kiyaboy is a Gat native and an executive of the association, and he tells me what the symbol means.
We are using one of the major Ghana Paramount's logo that is called Mankota Mankono. You can see it far there, yes. The meaning of Mankota Mankono meaning that there's a town bigger than another town, yes, and the main meaning behind it is that the top is reached by wisdom and not by size. Yes. So you see an antelope on top of the elephant. So no matter how bigger the elephant is, the antelope, yes, so it means that the top is reached by wisdom and not by size.
Kizito Amate is the research executive of the association and a reverend minister with the Gospel Mission Global. For this project, he is the art supervisor, and he explains that the paintings are not only in a bid to present the indigenous Ga culture, but also to portray the cosmopolitanism of Accra.
Actually, the scene itself projects the indigenous Ga culture. So right now, I'm touching up a part of the canoe. So Gas are predominantly indigenously, they are fisher folk. And because they're also in the south, we are trying to depict the activity that happens around the shore. Even though Accra is a city, we still have people who are doing fishing, and that talks about the commercial, let's say, the commercial part of Accra, and then the commerce as well. So we are trying to give tourists the interaction of what really happens. So over the, let's say, ahead, we'd also see their festival and some of the things that they believe in. So basically that's what we are doing. But we are not only projecting Accra. You'd see that on some of the pillars you have the Sirigu designs, because of course Accra is a capital city and it has become very cosmopolitan. So we find a lot of people coming in. We are trying to inculcate other cultures also within the same space, because now Accra is not just for the Gas but for all of us. Yeah.
We've heard from the various artists, but what do Ghanaians make of these paintings? We spoke to a few who described the initiative as good, but worried about whether it will stand the test of defacing.
I actually like what's happening, because when they were done with it, I was like, so after you're done, what's going to happen? what are we going to do next? And now that you're doing this, it's very nice, and it talks more about culture. And that painting there, the woman pouring water into the galaxy, I like it. It's very, very nice. I like that picture. I like that painting rather. I like that one very much. Yeah. Well, anyone posting something on it, you are defacing what they've done. First of all, it was paid for. So doing anything other than that, you are defacing what they've done. So I think, yeah, if people are penalized for doing that, so I think it's okay.
Okay, now please, what's your name?
Mensa.
What's your impression of what's the artwork that's...
Oh, it looks very nice. I saw it last 2 weeks when they started doing it, and it was very nice when I saw it. But I just was thinking about if people keep on posting posters when they complete it. Because you see in Ghana, we post everywhere. They have done it very nice, but within a short period of time, you see that there are a lot of posters over there.
I think the art is very nice. It's really nice. I really like it. It's nice. It's beautified the place. It has changed the place. I think this time around they should be straight on them, so that whilst they've done their art, there should be some guides, so that if anything, they will hold them responsible. So after they are done, painting, at least they should let some people be guiding it, so that they wouldn't be posting their bills on it.
The phenomenon of defacing is a worrying topic for many, including these artists, who are appealing to Ghanaians to not make their efforts go down the drain.
We all know how these walls were before. It was, filtered with a lot of posters. And I think that everybody knows what is beautiful from what is ugly. We are hoping that with your media and then other ways of reaching out to the public, we would desist from that kind of practice. Sometimes you can have a few bad nuts. We factored it in the project where we will do some touch-up if something like that happens. But we also believe that to a large extent, Ghanaians are going to preserve our hard work, and then I know that it will go a long way to help all of us.
For us as an association, we have been very, very concerned about how some walls have been defaced. In fact, before this project was executed, one measure the municipal assembly took to also curb that situation was to paint some of the bridges with the red, blue, green color. I believe the intention was at least to deter people from defacing the walls. At least once you see the red, blue, green color, you will have some respect for the flag of Ghana and not to deface it. But still, people were recalcitrant and went ahead and defaced. I don't know. So it has to do with issues of lack of appreciation for beautiful things. Let me put it that way, because on the part of the general public, because you see beautiful Ghana flag there, and then you still want to deface it shows that you don't have any respect for your flag. Now for us an association, we felt that we need to bring in something more, and that is through our murals we can help beautify the environment. Perhaps when the public get to see these beautiful murals, they will be prevented from going ahead to paste posters.
It is important to know how the idea behind the Accra Beautification Project was conceived, and the Municipal Chief Executive of the Korle Klottey Municipal Assembly, Ni Ejay Terrier, explained to me when and how it came by.
This all started before we were carved out of the AMA. So in a way, we were part of the AMA when it started, and they started with Jankuma, the director for the Creative Arts Council, and then the then Minister for Tourism, Catherine Afieku. And all these people have played a role in the beginning. When we were carved out of the AMA, most of where we are about to start, or where this thing is starting, is in our municipality. That is why we seem to be the focal point now. But then there are other areas also involved, and as we go on, other municipalities will also feature prominently in what is happening.
Mr. J. Terrier, who was also worried about the defacing phenomenon, tells me the Assembly is planning to fence these areas earmarked for beautification to avert any recalcitrant from plastering posters or encroaching.
Well, we are bringing new ideas on board. For example, that is what makes it sad. If you were to be in the UK, for example, today, even when they are going through the voting process to elect their MPs, etc., they don't use biometric. They don't, people don't go through all the things that we go through just to vote here. So I'm sure it is cheaper even for them to run their elections. But it's because of our nature and the way we do things, the mindset. And similar thing is happening in this area. We've noticed that maybe we may have to spend a little bit more to do fencing of these places, like we have done. If you are coming from the current AMA office, head office, you see that the greenery is being done, and also they've put some metal fencing around it. Now, in other jurisdictions, maybe that will not be necessary. So the cost of getting this thing down is a bit low. But we are in a country that people don't value these things, or the awareness is now being created, and there will be a need for us to put the fencing for a start until people get used to these things. Then maybe it will not be necessary. So yes, so that is one thing that we have to do to make sure we are able to protect the area from encroachers and people just throwing all sorts of things at the place, etc. So yes, we have to do a bit more, because what has been done in the past without the fencing, etc., after a short time, people, should I say, the place get bad again, because people we are not able to just view them, pass and appreciate them, but people go and do all sorts of things in those areas, and then the whole thing get damaged. Yeah.
In addition, he disclosed that the Assembly is working on some bylaws to enable them bring culprits to book.
People are being punished. Sometimes we seize their goods, the things they are selling at the place, we do seize them. And if, for example, for dumping, etc., you can take them through the courts. But these processes are not cheap. And then the fines, etc., goes to central coffers. Now, we want to continue to do that. So it means, as a new municipality, one of the areas we have to look at, and we are working on now, is to come out with bylaws that will make sure some of these monies come to the Assembly. Then we use it in doing some of this work. So it's a process. We are a new Assembly, and we have just started all these processes to make sure we play our role so that the President's vision to make Accra the cleanest city, or one of the cleaner city in Africa, is realized.
This indiscriminate display of posters on facilities has the potential of becoming a challenge to the quest by President Akufo-Addo to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa in his term.
But there are things that many of us do that will put off any visitor from visiting our country. Last year, I reiterated before you my pledge of improving sanitation in the country and making Accra the cleanest city in Africa by the end of my term.
Although it is just 10 months to the end of the president's term, Honorable Ni Ejay Terrier strongly believes if Ghanaians give the president a second term, the cleanest city agenda can be achieved with collective effort from all and sundry.
Well, in his term, yes. The president is allowed to seek re-office this December, and our constitution does not allow for 3 terms for the president. So we believe if the press and all get on board, what is started, we believe it will work. With the little that we've seen, we did the lighting up of Accra Christmas, and that was very positive as well. So yes, for me, I had never thought of it ending with the first 4 years in office. I, from the very instance, realized that the president was talking about is the constitutionally allowed time of a president. So, for me, and I think for a lot of other people, that is what we were thinking, that the full 8 years term of the president. Yeah.
So what happens if, I'm just saying, if the president doesn't make it past this 4 years, what happens to the Accra becoming the cleanest city? It means he failed?
No, governments are supposed to continue what has been started, especially if it's in a step in the right direction until the gentleman or lady in the chair decides and let the country know that we are not going towards the right anymore, but we are going to make a turn for the left.
The project is expected to extend to the Kwame Nkrumah Interchange, the Liberation Circle, the Dankwa Circle, the airport runabout, and the Ifwa Southland Park, among others. These tourists who spoke to ABC News say Ghana needs more of these paintings to rid the world of the stereotype that a country is anything and everything but beautiful.
I'm standing here and admiring the beautiful pictures that are painted right now. I think it's a wonderful thing to display it in such a public place so that people and tourists as well are aware of the local culture. And it's always very impressive if the city displays the culture so that everyone can see it and it's open to everyone. I think that Ghana is not on the map for many people to go as a tourist. I think there are many old pictures of the country as well, displaying poverty or problems. But Ghana has so many good sides and so much advanced that people should know about it, that it's going upwards and it's progressing, and not only to see bad stuff, but the beautiful parts as well, the culture, the nature, the cuisine, the clothing. Yes.
This is very beautiful. We arrived in Ghana the day before yesterday and have spent lots of time looking around at all the beautiful artwork here.
For ABC News, I am Ajati Nkrumah.